hills of North Dakota land, where the skies are wide and the freedom stands. With a Bible in my hand and a prayer in my heart, living this life where the wild plays its part. Dust on my boots and my hat pulled low, got my trusty rifle and I'm ready to go. Hunting the game as the sun hits the sky, in the heart of the 701 I feel so alive. Guns and the 701, that's how we roll. Faith in the good Lord, that's how we hold the line of the legacy that runs through our veins. In this wild, wild land where the spirit remains, we're living free, living bold side by side, with God on our plate and our hearts open wide. Ranch in the fields, the cattle run free, with a purpose so strong, it's our grand legacy. The rivers run deep as we cast out our lines, fish in the waters where the North Star shines. Got the warmth of the sun with the chill of the night, with every shot fired we're ready to fight for the freedom we cherish. The second is true, with family beside us we stand through and through. Guns in the 701, that's how we roll. Faith in the good Lord, that's how we hold the line of the legacy that runs through our veins. In this wild, wild land where the spirit remains, we're living free, living bold side by side, with God on our plate and our hearts open wide. In a world that's spinning with sins that they wield, we stick to our values, our fate is revealed. With the word as our guide, we tread on the earth, a community built from the love, not the curse. Raising our voices, singing loud through the night, for God and our freedom, we'll continue the fight. Let the rifles ring out, let the spirits align. In North Dakota's embrace, our souls intertwine. So when you hear the gunshots and feel that proud sound, know it's faith and freedom that echoes around. From the fields of the ranch to the depths of the lake, with God on our side, there's nothing at stake. Guns and the 71, forever we'll stand in the heart of our faith, in this great free
All right, everybody, good evening to another great episode of Guns in the 701 here, episode 195. We got some great guests coming on. We got Nate Brown joining us again from the Whitington Center, which, by the way, I've talked about it 100 times, and I'm telling you right now, we got to make a trip down there, and the guys that are listening in that know, they know. As far as that goes, we got a lot of things to talk about. We got a very special guest that Nate has invited, and I'm happy to have her here. Teresa's going to be introducing herself, and she is on the board of directors, NRA 2.0, and her and I might have a lot in common because I've been asked by Jason and a few others to run next year, and I've made that pretty vocal starting. I'm really giving it a lot of thought here, and I may do it because I believe in what's happening in the big changes there. So that'd be something we can talk about. New Jersey, and we might talk about that too, because that's where she's from. Third Circuit Court. Check this out. they threw out the assault weapons ban, but they expanded it, and it's even better news. And it's all in light of Bruin, and we've been talking about that since the decision came down. But with that, as I do each and every week, I like to start each show with a prayer. So if you guys will stick with me here, I would like to start the show out again. God our Father, giver of life, we entrust the United States of America to your loving care. You are the rock which this nation was founded. You alone are the true source of our cherished rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Reclaim this land for your glory and dwell among your people. Send your spirit to touch the hearts of our nation's leaders. Open their minds to the great worth of human life and the responsibilities that accompany human freedom. Remind your people that true happiness is rooted in seeking and doing your will. We ask this through Christ our Lord, our Savior and blessed gift. Amen. All right, let's bring my guests in now. Mr. Nate Brown.
Hey, guys.
And we have Teresa Knacker. Did I get it right?
Inacker.
There we go. Inacker. There we go. I told her I was going to let her introduce herself, but I did mess it up. And guess what? I messed it up. But so, Teresa, meet our guest we've never had on. I'm sure you know this by heart, but I'm going to put this like up there, and if you would,
with an eye on it.
With an eye, there you go. I am going to have you recite the Second Amendment if you're okay with that, but I'll put it up here for everybody to see if that's okay with you.
Oh. Yeah, I can start out citing the Second Amendment, and I pray that I'm going to do it properly. The 27 words. Just bear with me for a second here.
Well, I have it on the screen so that you get it right.
Thank you. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
Thank you very much. Amen. And you're right. Them 27 words are they are the most important words in my understanding and in my opinion. I always felt that was the most important part of the Constitution, honestly. And I'm sure we all kind of fall on that page. I was an NRA rep, Teresa, for over 10 years, senior rep in the Dakotas. So I'm very familiar, ain't I, Nate? So, all right. With that, Nate, I want to give you a chance to tell us. I know I've been following you. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we got a little bit of delay there. Sorry, Teresa. So we'll have to try to work around that. But the picture is clear after we did some changing as well. Hey, everybody. Good evening. Jamie says, hell yeah, Clay Peterson for NRA board. Yes, that I keep getting a lot of pressure to run. I can tell you that. I suppose I have some things to add to the board if I was to win, but I don't know. Yeah. That's a big commitment, isn't it?
It is. It's a pretty healthy commitment for sure, but be the change that you want to see happen. That's the thing.
Absolutely. And I love the NRA.
That's exactly right. And I'm just happy to be back on your podcast. Thank you for being so gracious to have me on for a third time. I thought maybe for your viewing pleasure and listening pleasure, I'd had someone that's actually on our NRA board and 2.0. She ran as 2.0, a very successful run and made it in there. And I've got to give Teresa props. She absolutely loves the NRA. She loves the Second Amendment. She does a tremendous amount of work behind the scenes with a litany of different organizations, and I'll let her dig into all of that more herself. Yeah. It's really cool to see boards of directors, folks from New Jersey and all around the country starting to pay attention to the Whitington Center. So
absolutely. I mean, you and I have talked about this, Nate. After you switched over from being a field rep and going down there, I'm actually a little more excited about that, Nate, because I really want to plan a trip down there with some of the guys, and we're kind of talking. The way it sounded like I was telling you on the phone, possibly after the first year in January, which I know for a fact the weather's nice down there because that's what last time that I was down there was in January. So it's a nice break from sometimes our very, very cold winters here.
Well, I was just going to say, as a guy that spent, the better part of a decade living in western North Dakota, and then in my formative years in eastern North Dakota, where it's really cold, down by Ellendale and Aberdeen area. A bad cold day in Raton, New Mexico doesn't hold a candle to a cold day in North Dakota. So I think you guys would be running around in your shirt sleeves shooting long range and shotguns and pistols and all kinds of craziness. So,
well, we did on our last trip. We had an actual regional meeting down there for the whole part, which North and South Dakota were in, and several others. So that's why we were down there. And yeah, we're sitting there in January in short sleeves and jeans, just having a blast, literally shooting at the white buffalo, shooting some 50s. I mean, we had kind of the run of the place, so it was a lot of fun. Hey, shot. I should say hi to some of these guys. Sorry, I'm lagging on the comments. Dan, good to have you with. Hey, David. David has a show with us, 701 Marksman, and it's a great show as well. Brian, hey, my fellow MVE, and Brian's a faithful top fan, by the way, now on our fascist book page. Like I said, I have my own name for Zuckerberg's page, his platform. Randall Payne, good evening. And then, of course, Jamie's with us with 701 Nation. So, yeah, so I want to just kind of touch with you, Nate, first. I know you've been doing some fundraising. I know that you have a raffle going on, don't you?
We do, yeah. We have a raffle with Bighorn Armory out of Cody, Wyoming. I have to give Greg Buckle and his crew props. I had a deal going with them for annual meeting that kind of fell apart with some of the stuff that happened in field operations and all that stuff. And so I ended up talking to Greg again now that I'm down at Whitington. We have a Model 89 spike driver lever action in 500 Smith & Wesson. We have raffle tickets right here available in the pro shop. But if anybody in your group or if anyone on there wants to get in on that one, I'm only selling 250 tickets for $50 a piece. That's a $7,200 rifle that says made in the 250th year of American liberty right on the barrel. It's very, very high end. It's a very nice gun. It's got the best walnut that money can buy, color case hardened, receiver, octagon barrel, and it kicks about like a 12 gauge shotgun. So I haven't shot that one. So it is a new gun that hasn't been fired, but they're very manageable, and you can take any species of game on the earth. I assure you, it's a very, very cool cartridge. So yeah, Bighorn Armory, Cody, Wyoming. My number is 480-318-8462, or you can catch me via email at nbrown@nrawc.org. But Clay's got my number. If you guys want a ticket, I will take Venmo, or you can send me a check, whatever you want to do, and we will get you in, and I'll text you a picture of your ticket and get you put in the bucket.
Well, and also, if anyone needs his number, I have his number. When we get through the first break, I'll try to type it in here and post it as well. But
yeah,
and if we need to, if any of you are interested, I know I'm getting one or two, and anyway, I got to have some tickets on that. But
it's an epic firearm. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that you'll take a check from Guns in the 701. So if anybody wants to just get money to us, we can send that right down to Nate as well, and I'll just write one big check for it.
Yeah, and my Venmo is easy too. I can give you that, Clay, and you can put that up easily either way. I just did that actually. I've put about 6 tickets in there off of Venmo. It makes it a little more of a workflow for me, but I don't mind doing it. I would love to see a good old kid from the Dakotas win that thing. That'd be epic.
Actually, we could do that too. So anybody might get that rigged up. Here's how we can do it. You can see that we have the little QR code over there. It's a subscribe, but you can put any amount into that if you want. You want to put a $50 ticket or $2 ticket or 2 tickets for $100. You can do that, and I believe you can even type it in there, and we can get it to you as well, Nate. We'll make this as easy as possible for everybody. So we're set up. We got our own thing too.
It'd be an awesome gun to go up on the Turtle Mountains and slam a moose or an elk or something in North Dakota. It'd be an epic one.
And there,
Badlands out west, whatever.
if you are lucky enough to draw the coveted bighorn sheep tags in North Dakota, I can't think of a cooler gun to take with you hitting those badlands. My goodness.
That'd be awesome. That'd be an epic hunt. I might even find a film crew if some North Dakota boy wins that gun and wants to take it on a sheep hunt. That'd be great.
I'm telling you, some of the biggest sheep I've seen have been out there. I mean, they've had some issues, just like they did in the bighorns for a while out in Wyoming, but they're making a comeback. I think they're going to have a tag or two this year. So, I know when we do have a season, I put in for it. I have not drawn one.
Yeah.
If I would have, you would have known about it.
You and a few 100,000 other guys.
Yeah. And I loved it. When you used to be able to apply, you applied, right? Because, they wanted everybody to be. Now they charge you, it's what, $5? I don't even know, $10 now. I can't remember. But I'm kind of, that's a whole nother subject, and we can discuss these game and fish departments and how they fleece us. But anyway,
you were talking about the white buffalo. I sent you some pics, and I don't know if it worked out.
It did
for you. I was going to tell you guys, Teresa actually had the opportunity to shoot the white buffalo. So I'm talking over you, Teresa, and I'm going to let you talk next. But so to give you an idea, she had never shot farther than 200 yards until yesterday, and connected with the white buffalo at Whitington at 1,123 yards. So pretty epic.
And it is cool. I've had the privilege of shooting the white buffalo, but when we were there, the store was out of T-shirts that said I shot the white buffalo. It's like,
I'll get you one, Clay. What size are you? I'll send you one.
Oh, it depends on the brand. XL or 2XL. I'll tell you what, I'll trade you. I'll send you one of these, and you send me a shirt.
I'll get you a 2XL, and then you can just tie a little knot in it down by your belly button if it's too big.
Because that's the style. Yeah. So, all right. Well, I'll tell you, let's bring Teresa into this. Get you introduced, and then somewhere in there we'll take a quick break and then come back and really get into it. So why don't you give us your full name and what your title is, and tell us all about you.
Sure. Thank you for having me. Actually, this is Nate's podcast that I just happened to jump in on because I'm here visiting the Whitington Center, which has been amazing. I'm Teresa Einacker from New Jersey. I'm an attorney. I'm admitted to practice in New York, New Jersey, and the Supreme Court of the United States. I'm the state director for Women for Gun Rights in New Jersey. I'm on the CNJFO board as a trustee, which is the Coalition of New Jersey Firearm Owners. And, I've been in advocacy here for, about 15 years. So we have a lot of exciting things happening in New Jersey, which is really awesome. But I am, I'm in my second year now on the NRA Board of Directors. I ran on the 2.0 slate and it was just so happy to be a part of that slate. And I'm in my second year of a 3-year term. So I serve on several committees, which I won't bore you guys with, but, we are really making a difference lately.
Yeah, I can tell you right now, I am so glad. By the way, sorry, guys. There's Nate's information, quick like for everybody. I can tell you right now, I'm so glad to see this movement come forth, Teresa. I was a rep for 10 years. I retired in 2016, I think it was. Anyway, it's been a while from the NRA and in my position as a senior field rep in the Dakotas. But, everybody always asks me why I retired early. And then there was a lot of things involved in that. I can tell you flat out one of them was what I was seeing at the top. I'm sure that's not the first time you've heard that.
I hear it all the time. I hope not. Yeah. I can hear you. I'm on wired. Yeah. I'm on my wired ear pods because I'm traveling and I don't have a wired connection. So gotcha. Sorry about that if it's laggy. Yeah, but Bill Bockenberg is the president. There's so many changes and things are really making a difference now, with the budget in the black and being in the red and just so many changes going on. So I'm very proud of the work that's being done there. I'm proud to be part of that team. I'm honored to be a part of the team. And I hope that I can, just make it better.
Well, absolutely. And one of the things I really liked seeing was that website that came out shortly after the NRA 2.0 thing started. I know there's a group on Facebook as well. I'm actually part of that, which I enjoy seeing the conversations in there. But that website brought clarity and transparency like I'd never seen. And I really do believe it brought back a lot of the people, even that I know, that hadn't renewed their subscriptions. They might have stayed in that life or that benefactor or the upper level life membership, but they weren't active anymore. And I think that has really been turned around. And it's fantastic because, as you know, our grassroots is the NRA. That is the heart and soul of this organization. And without the NRA, we lose our Second Amendment rights. That's always been my opinion anyway.
I'm going to horn in for just a second really quick on Teresa, just to say one of the coolest experiences for me as a North Dakota kid and a Wyoming kid, and basically a kid that has grown up where, sadly enough, we take the Second Amendment completely for granted. Mm-hmm. We have all of the freedom living in this part of the world that we can stand. And ridiculously enough, we don't even appreciate it. And so it's been very enlightening and very eye-opening to spend time with Teresa, because she literally lives very close to the birthplace of our country. And yeah. She's very patriotic. And her state is one of the most draconian with regard to gun rights. And and the reality of it is we're living right here next to Colorado. Colorado is dead set between Wyoming and New Mexico. And I'm telling you, North Dakota is not that far away, folks. We have to stay in the fight. And thank God for Teresa and folks like her who are doing things like you just got accomplished. How long have you been fighting for the magazine limit restriction thing, Teresa? Touch on that.
8 years. So we were at already a reduced magazine limit in New Jersey since the 90s. We were down to 15 rounds. And then in 8 years ago, they decided to pass a law that said you were limited to 10 rounds. And so, of course, cases were filed immediately, but it's taken 8 years. It's taken 8 years to go through the federal court system, and we finally got relief last week. So, but it hasn't gone into effect yet. The Attorney General's office has said that they will issue guidance, and so FFLs are hesitant to act before the end of the appeal period. There is a time period where the state can appeal, they can ask for reconsideration and do various things, but either chances are very good. So this is the very first time we had a really big win. I mean, a really big win. So I mailed all of my magazines, my 15-round magazines, to Pennsylvania to a friend's house, sitting in a garage. And so now, we're hoping to just be able to have standard capacity magazines. It's really been incredible. I don't have any in my hand yet. They haven't, the shops are not selling them yet. They're waiting to get that further guidance from the New Jersey State Police Firearms Division. They said they would issue guidance. And so everybody's kind of waiting to make sure that it's clear to do that. So, but yeah, 8 years for the mag ban. Assault weapons ban also was merged into that case and placed during Governor Barrio's time period. We're talking back in the 90s, also early 90s, I would say, that went into effect. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Court of third, and the judge who the majority opinion was actually a judge, which is quite a shock.
Really? I'm actually surprised at that. I truly am. I was kind of going through all this stuff. Yeah, Judge Paul Mady, I believe is how you pronounce his name. He gave we lost. We see you. And I don't know what's going on there. But so, yeah, just to touch on that, everybody, if you hadn't seen, New Jersey had some great wins here for their state, and that's for us as a whole. All of these cases are precedent. And you have to remember, the Supreme Court of the United States is going to hear 2 cases basically on assault weapons. I always have disliked that term. But those are going to be huge. This one's really good because they almost they pretty much overturned some of their other opinions basing it on I'm sure because the Supreme Court's going to hear this in their next session, as well as Bruin. Bruin was such a fundamental precedent-setting case that it has given us more leverage, more traction, and restored more of our Second Amendment rights than anything I've seen. I don't know. Do I have that right, Teresa? Oh, did we lose her?
Can you hear him, Teresa?
Yeah.
I can hear you down the hall, but I can't. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you, Teresa. But
Yeah, we can hear you just fine.
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Oh, good. Okay. So, great. So I guess I'm going to chime in about Bruin. And a lot of the blue states, their arguments have been basically that we're not to use the historic analogs from the time of the founding in the 1790s, but that we're supposed to use them from the post-Reconstruction era. And that's improper. It's absolutely improper. And so we have to constantly battle these attorneys general where they are arguing that we use post-Reconstruction, which obviously it was about disarming the Black population, right? So these are very repugnant laws that they're relying on and very racist laws that they're relying on, but they continually cite those in all of their arguments in their briefs. And the Third Circuit was having none of it. They were absolutely having none of it, which is fabulous. So, Bruin really opened the doors wide and made it very clear. You go with the basically on its face language of the Second Amendment. And then if you have to, you dig deeper in that second step, which is what is the historic analog for that? And these arguments that they make are ridiculous and really totally improper. So, the Third Circuit wasn't having any of it. The chief opinion was authored by Judge Freeman, but I did see that Judge Mady had also issued some, a concurring opinion. And so there were only a few dissenters, but it was an en banc review of the entire Third Circuit. So chances are very slim that there'll be a reconsideration of that. So we're very, very hopeful that you have to understand, we call them the evil features. This is very funny. If it has a detachable magazine, you cannot have an adjustable stock. And it's imagine going to jail for having an adjustable, whatever. And so it's you can't have a bayonet lug. They came up with all these things, whatever. They just contrived these things out of nowhere that no one's ever committed a crime because of these things, right? But yet they put them in there. So all of those features are gone. All of that garbage has just been wiped out. And so we're almost we have Stockholm syndrome there. We don't know what to do. It's we're released. Are we really free? Can we go? And so it's really an incredible
I know one thing. One thing that we're going to do, Clay, is I'm going to mail Teresa a bunch of branded Whitington Center 30-round magazines very soon, that say, God bless the Second Amendment, and Whitington Center, something. We need to make a little package for our friends in New Jersey, and let them know what freedom really looks like.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to send something. After the show here, we'll get some addresses. We have some gunsinthe701.com engraved mags, some different colored ones. We got a few things here I can ship out to you. And
that'd be great.
You can sport all this freedom-loving North Dakota gear.
That's awesome. Well, that's what I'm excited. I know you need to
you have to understand, and people in free states, which I'm sure most of your audience is in a free state, we envy you greatly. Yep. And we also caution you that a lot of times these liberal states on the coast, they try these things. It's like a petri dish. They want to see what will stick, what will grow, and then what they can get away with. And then it spreads like a virus. And so they try these things out on us, and then we have to fight them for 8 years. And, we have people are,
Well, and I want to read something here that came out of this ruling. So this is what I do. Some of our other guys do marksmanship. Some do. We have a Sunday devotion show. We've got other things, but my thing is the court stuff, the legal battles. That's always been my arena. But here's what was written in here. It says, applying the framework announced in the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin, we agree with the district court that New Jersey's ban on Colt AR-15s violates the Second Amendment. However, because the record supports the same result for all semi-automatic rifles, not only the Colt AR-15s, we will modify the district court's order so that it deems the assault firearms provisions unconstitutional with respect to the full class of semi-automatic rifles. We will affirm that part of the order as modified. That's huge in New Jersey, isn't it, Teresa?
It is because the district court judge made this whacked out ruling that nobody liked. Both sides appealed, that the Colt, okay, great. You can have a Colt AR-15, but no other AR-15. And it was like, what? And so the attorney general didn't like that. And of course we didn't like that. And so both sides were disaffected or whatever by this. And so that's why we pursued it on into the circuit court for the appeals. It was a lot of the decisions that district court judges do, and judges even in state court, which you're never going to win there in Jersey, but they come up with these things that make zero sense. And obviously, they're unconstitutional. So luckily, the entire, I think 15 judges on the Third Circuit Court of Appeals, the entire slate agreed that this was unconstitutional. And not only as to the Colt, but as to all other semi-automatics. And so I believe that they also, the only thing they remanded back, I believe, was about the constitutionality of something with certain limits on shotguns and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So there's some other work that needs to be done at the district court level that's been carved out. But people aren't really clamoring over that right now. We're just excited that we can start owning things that other people own. So that if you live alone like I do, you can defend yourself, right? And you can defend yourself against multiple attackers and all sorts of things. And it's being limited to 10 rounds really, it really disparately impacts certain groups. And we've always tried to make that argument, and we do continually make that argument.
Oh,
so
absolutely. And as far as shotguns go, you're going to see,
be able to be
Bruin was very huge.
Exercise, our rights as we should have.
Yeah, and with Bruin and the results we've seen out of the Supreme Court, let's face it, you talk about historical use, shotguns have been around forever. So it's going to be pretty hard to prove that a shotgun doesn't fall within that historical use of common firearms. But tell you what, everybody, let's take a quick break before we go on here. It's the bottom of the hour. Thanks some of our sponsors and pay some bills here. And then we'll be right back with Teresa, an acre, right? Did I get that right? And Nate Brown with more on the Whitington Center and, of course, the board of directors in New Jersey and an array of other things. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
LAUER Auto Repair, located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Give them a call at 701-258-6308.
The team of mechanics at LAUER Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with LAUER, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck-Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake. LAUER Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at LAUER Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's LAUER Auto Repair, 701-258-6308.
701-258-6308.
Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
When you want it done right,
Go where lemons go.
Kalon's Auto Service, owned and operated by Kalon and Misty Foss, lifelong locals with over 25 years experience. From modern rides to classic restorations, they can handle it all. Top quality work, fair price, and honest hometown values. Located just one block south of Highway 12 on 6th Avenue West in Lemmon. Kalon's Auto Service, serving you with all your auto repair needs.
For the best gun gear for every and any situation, Little Angry Man Arms LLC has you covered. Top-notch guns from top-name brands like Winchester, Glock, Sig Sauer, and Ruger to essential extras from Magpul, Streamlight, Hollow, Sun Optics, and more. Little Angry Man Arms LLC have everything to make your shooting adventures a success. Visit littleangrymanarms.com today and gear up for your next big hunt, competition, or home defense. Don't miss out on our exclusive exclusive deals. Little Angry Man Arms LLC, based in Trail City, South Dakota, your ultimate hunting partner.
At Horton LaserCraft, we believe in the power of personalization. Whether it's a cherished memory, a special occasion, or a unique gift, our custom laser engraving brings your vision to life. Our expert craftsmen and state-of-the-art technology ensure every piece is a work of art. From personalized decor to one-of-a-kind keepsakes, Horton LaserCraft makes every moment unforgettable. Horton LaserCraft is owned and operated by a local veteran and his wife located near Thunderhawk, South Dakota. They provide custom laser products at a reasonable price, and their turnaround time is fast and efficient.
Custom board cutting, glassware, decanter sets, mugs, assorted stainless steel jewelry, assorted tags, decor, custom acrylic nightlights, and much, much more.
Call them up at 605-545-7535. Horton LaserCraft, where memories are engraved.
Also, guys, I wanted to bring our brand new sponsor. Well, he's been on with us for about a couple months now, but Crappie Creek Feeds, LLC, Jason and Megan Holm. You can reach them at 605-850-3998. I'm telling you, Jason and his wife down there have a fantastic array of minerals and licks and salt blocks and any kind of supplements you're going to need, whether it's cattle, horses, goats, chickens, even your dogs. They carry a nice variety of great dog food that isn't going to kill them, that isn't going to give them all the junk that you see at these big box stores. So you're going to want to go ahead and get in touch with these guys. He come on as one of our top sponsors along with LAUER Auto Repair and Kalon's Auto Center. And I can't say enough about this great constitutional, gun-loving, hunting guy who's going to, I'm telling you, he is just, you're going to love all of his products. Again, Crappie Creek Feeds, I'm hoping to get down there possibly this week. He's got a few pallets of stuff in for me again. 605-850-3998. And we are proud to have them as one of the Guns of the 701 Network top sponsors. All right. So we're back. We left off with Bruin and some New Jersey stuff. And so I guess, where do you want to pick up? Do you want to talk more on that, Teresa, or do you want to kind of go into what happened with NRA 2.0? I'll let you kind of take it from wherever you want to go.
So I'm sorry that I don't hear you guys half the time, but I'm glad that you can hear me. So I will just give you a little bit more about Bruin, just so that you know that we have a very important sensitive places case pending right now, again, before an en banc panel at the Third Circuit Court of Appeals. It's called Koons, Koons, Gaudio, Gaudio, and that case against Carrie, and we are waiting for a decision any day now, right? I mean, it could come any day. We were hoping it would come last week. And so we are still waiting for that. And we are talking, they tried to limit us where you could carry everywhere. They literally they didn't want you to carry in your car, and you can't do anything but walk down the middle of the street. They tried to do a vampire rule on us where we would have to get permission from every private property owner before we stepped onto the property. And so, of course, we've gotten some relief on that. We had a federal judge, Judge Bum is her name. She was amazing. She 200-page opinion, and she restricted and restrained the state to get its boot off of our neck, essentially, and said that, no, we're going to restrain this. And she allowed us to carry essentially everywhere. It doesn't involve children, so not in playgrounds, schools, zoos, that sort of thing. We still can't carry there, can't carry in government buildings, can't carry where there's alcohol being served. However, we have temporary relief, right, under that. We are waiting for permanent relief from the Third Circuit. And if this decision, the Cheeseman decision, is any indication, we are going to be in luck. And so we are very, very optimistic about this. I went with my crew from Women for Gun Rights, and we actually sat in the audience and watched, and it was just an incredible experience. And so we're very excited. And so just, keep your eye out for that one. You're going to see it come down very soon, and it's going to be more good news.
Yeah, I was just kind of taking a look at this. Firearms Policy Coalition has it on their site. I always love going there. But yeah, Koons versus Platkin, and it's challenging the 2A law to publicly carry in the state. And we are very blessed here in the Dakotas, although we have several public buildings, unfortunately, even in North Dakota, that we own. They're ours, but they don't allow us to carry. But we're working on that. We have done some changes in South Dakota, but it does exist. So that's the next step. I mean, we've come a long ways, you think, in 20 to 30 years from being hardly
I love Brian Warner's quote, his little comment, New Jersey legal since 2026, engraved on the other side.
I see that.
I think we can come up with some pretty cool ideas. I know the A&A engraving boys could make some cool stuff happen too if we need to. So
they really could. In Horton LaserCraft, which you saw as one of my sponsors, maybe what I'll do is I'll take one of those mags over. I might have them engrave that for me that says exactly that, New Jersey legal since 2026.
You know what, Clay?
I love that, Brian.
We need to chew on some stuff, and I might have to load you up and fly east in October. There's Anthony Calandro with Gun for Hire Radio in New Jersey, who's also on the NRA board, invited me to their large North Jersey Friends of NRA banquet in October. I believe it's the 7th. Obviously, if you go to friendsofnra.org, you can find it. But I believe it's October 7th. But it's going to be a blowout. They made $185,000 last year, and their goal is $250K. Bill Bockenberg, the president of the NRA, will be the keynote speaker as well. And so I think it'd be really cool to do a little collaborative contribution to that banquet. It'd be pretty sweet on the 250th anniversary of the country.
Yeah, in New Jersey. So would you say it's going to be at North Jersey, you said?
Yes, North Jersey, October 7th.
Just brought it up. It's October 7th at 5:30 p.m. That's Eastern time, everybody, for everyone out here. So 2 hours ahead of us. But
I'm going to go come hell or high water, so I'm planning on it. It'll be fun. I got the VIP invite, and I'm sure any and all, as an old field rep or two like us two yahoos, any and all help would be greatly appreciated. So, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Hit it up there, everybody. North Jersey. It's North Jersey Friends of NRA, and that is taking place October 27th, 2026 at the Grove in Cedar Grove, New Jersey. You can contact John. I can't pronounce that name there. John Acapinti. There we go. 862-282-6409. Or just, like I said, go to friendsofnra.org/events, and then you can find any of the events, including New Jersey's.
And the thing about all this, I know it doesn't, it probably doesn't hit very close to home with folks in North and South Dakota, Wyoming, New Mexico, but it really needs to, because, if we don't change people's minds at the ground level, our whole country is going to look like this, and that's the reality that we're all living in. And that's why I'm here at Whitington. That's why I left my oil field career, came down to work for the NRA and do some things that are legacy building and long term, because I realized that sitting by the roadside in the borrow ditch and just watching the world fly by at 70 miles an hour, you don't have anything to do but just stand around and complain when it's over if you don't get involved. You got to jump out in there and cause a head-on collision once in a while and say, this is enough, And I have to hand it to the folks from back east. We're all guilty of this. We wait too late, we get involved too late in the game, and the next thing you know, we're digging ourselves out of a grave in the ground instead of, staying above ground and staying where we need to be. And so I can't emphasize enough how thankful I am to have met people like Teresa, and Amanda Suffolcool is another champion of the 2A, and she's doing great things in your same world, with her own syndicated radio show and stuff like that. And it's really a holistic American problem. And, if we, and I'll touch on the North Dakota, South Dakota thing too. People are leaving these states because they're tired of living that way. And guess where they're coming?
Midwest.
They're coming here. And so if we don't get on top of our game, and get involved. And I appreciate you doing this, Clay. You're a champion in your own right, just carrying the torch. I know you're not on the field rep world anymore, lugging totes around and working till 3 a.m. and counting up, dealing with FFL transfers and all that stuff. But the reality of it is the Second Amendment isn't going to protect itself. We have to defend it. So
right. Speaking of from what I heard, it was a small crowd down there in Rapid City, but it got back on the ground with that special event. And I don't know what your schedule looks like, but I'm planning to be down there during Central States Fair that first weekend. So if you happen to be traveling back,
I'm going to Sheridan tomorrow to the Weatherby Film Festival.
Okay.
I was just in Rapid City 2 weeks ago, weekend before last, for the WCA, the Weatherby Collectors Association. So I'm doing everything in my power to hit the ground running and just share about the Whitington and share about the Second Amendment. But it's great to get involved and be involved in such a rewarding effort, and I really feel like we're really on the cutting edge of the new 2.0 NRA that's going to be bigger and better than it's ever been in history. With the right players involved and the right people on the boots on the ground. I think we're in a spot where the glory days are over, and now we have to delve into the gory days where it's really a fight. It really is. I mean, Charlton Heston's long gone. We've got to carry the torch on our own right. So thank you for everyone who's listening, who's been on board and listened with Clay and kind of jumped in early in the game with the guns of the 701, because it means a lot. And share these podcasts, share with people, share about Whitington, share about the Pete Lean and Son Shooting Complex in Rapid City. There's a ton of people right in your backyard that don't even know they have a world-class facility right north of Rapid, just 9 miles north of the Flying J.
Absolutely. Yeah, they have no clue. It's pretty new out there. I am going, I didn't get down there when I wanted to, so I'm going down here during the Central States Fair. That's one of my stops. It's going to happen because I haven't seen it yet. That thing was discussed back. I retired in 2016, and it was being discussed before that time when I was a rep, when I was meeting with certain people, but it just never had the right people involved to get it off of its, off and started and ready to go. And it's from what I hear, it's a phenomenal facility. So
it really is. It's really a cutting edge place. And I just had the opportunity. It was kind of a secondhand thing that was thrown in my lap, but I had the opportunity to be the keynote for the Weatherby Collectors the other day. Their keynote speaker backed out at the last minute, and they needed someone. They made $1,000 contribution to the Whitington, and I punched the clock for the Pete Lean and Sons facility first, and then the way I pitched it, I said, here's the deal. The Pete Lean and Sons, we're talking about the grandkids. The Whitington Center down here in Raton, New Mexico is really like grandpa, because of some of the people like Harlan Carter and George Whitington 53 years ago. This place where I work is older than I am. And even then, in 1973, there were people involved with the NRA that said, we're not going to have spaces like this. We need to build a permanent place where nobody will ever be able to take away the opportunity to go and shoot and to go practice and to go train with professional trainers and do all the things, because encroachment and all the things. And so I love that South Dakota followed that, kind of took that and ran with it, and they did their own thing. It's a much smaller facility at 400 and some acres, but it's very effective. It's very great. I actually shot my first double on skeet, which is really funny, but
that's awesome.
If you've been in western Wyoming, you probably can appreciate that I've shot a lot more pheasants in the wild in southeastern North Dakota and in Wyoming and elsewhere than I've ever shot skeet. So it took me a minute, that little clay target flying at me and over the top of my head and everything else. But the reality is I've realized in my life that I've never really taken for granted, or I've never really taken the time to realize how fortunate I was to have opportunity to get outdoors and to hunt and to fish and to shoot and all those things. And that's what's great about these permanent facilities. Nothing's perfect. It's like building a church. There's always going to be somebody that's going to complain. But the reality of it is the people that enact change and motivate and get it done, you have to give them credit where credit's due. And I love that Pete Lean and guys like Jim Skull and Tammy and Justin Bond with Sturgis Guns, they've all worked behind the scenes with the state of South Dakota. And Christie and Governor Roden both had involvement in it as well. But people have to realize that, you have to bow your neck and just get it done. And then for perpetuity, there's going to be a place where people can go shoot. People can go exercise their Second Amendment rights. Because if you're not training, you're really not very effective. And that's the reality. So,
no, absolutely. No, that's okay. And DJ just commented they had 1,000-yard bench rest there. But as far as Whitington goes, I mean, check this out, guys. You got hunting opportunity there. It's 33,000 acres. And like I said, I've been there. It's a premier place. You got mule deer hunts. You got elk hunts, cow elk hunts, antelope. I tell you what, we were down there. We saw some fabulous antelope that were out there, turkey hunts. And I don't know what else they have, but you can make this as expensive or affordable as you want, in all honesty. And I think they have some leased land too. So
and the housing opportunities are, that's what's really epic about the Whitington, and nobody can really compare to it because we have on-site housing. And what's really cool, we just had a little meet and greet with some neighbors there with Mel and Susan Feely, but they're right there. They're camp hosts. They come and volunteer. And it's really a destination for people that want to just be involved with the Second Amendment and be supportive. And I have to hand it to our volunteers and people that come. They bring their camper. They stay right in the campground. We're literally sitting there 5 feet from a herd of mule deer right in the campground. The outdoor recreation side of it is just huge.
Yeah.
It's a place where you can bring your whole family. And you can hike, you can hunt, you can, do all the things and shoot and, just do the RV thing, barbecue outdoors. It's really a holistic experience coming to the Whitington Center. It really is an awesome spot.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's a fantastic place. And the rates, I mean, if you saw that on there when I had that up to rate, I mean, those founders cabins, that's where we stayed. I really enjoyed staying in those. I mean, $100 per room for 2 people, or $120 per room for 3 or 4 people. That's nothing. You go to the hills once and get a room, and you get a little bitty room with. If you're going to pay $200-$300 if you're getting off the rack, and it's just
And during stock show, it's $500 or $600
for some of them. Luckily, I know a guy there, so I did well. But from all them years as an NRA rep, I made a lot of relationships, and I can go pretty much anywhere in the Dakotas and get a good rate because I spent so much time on the road, as you know. When you're a rep, you're on the road.
You're touching on something that's really important about the Whitington Center. Is it's been, by design, it was created to be an opportunity for people from all levels, from the wealthy people all the way down the line, to poor field reps like us. But the reality of it is it was geared from the very beginning to create opportunity for shooting sports, and that's the beauty of it. And and it's created a thing like now Wyoming is building a shooting complex, and South Dakota already has theirs, but we've got Cameo and Grand Junction, and I have a vision to really expand the shooting sports to be more inclusive of people from all walks of life, because that's where the beauty of, and the longevity of the Second Amendment really is going to be a success, is if we include people from all walks of life. Some of the most marginalized people in South Dakota, Wyoming, Native American folks, here we have Hispanic population, in Illinois and New Jersey, there's a lot of African American people. Most of those folks that are in the most marginalized communities don't have the access to the Second Amendment protections like we have, and that's purposeful and political, and that's a shame, because the Second Amendment truly is for everybody. And I would encourage all of you as well to reach out to people and share those opportunities. If you don't have kids of your own, mentor somebody else's kids. I love that South Dakota Youth Hunting Adventures is a great organization right there in Rapid City, Jim Skull has a definite desire to try to share opportunity in the Second Amendment with the native population there in South Dakota. And that's the best way to change people, is to showcase what it really means to be a firearms owner. All of us are great people, but until we get out there and share our lifestyle with people, they don't know that.
I can tell you that when I was a rep in Rapid City, we had quite a large Friends of NRA event down there. DJ Thompson, who's been commenting on here, he listens all the time, good friend of mine. And he was our chair. He did a great job, him and his wife. Then we had Mike Buckingham come into that with his wife, who then brought Jim Skull into the fray of it, you could say. Jim got involved. And then the Ultimate Outdoor Adventure, most of the guys that after I left, and we know what happened after I retired, and things kind of fell apart there in South Dakota. And they went over there and started helping there because they were, busy people are busy, right, Nate? It doesn't matter. They're going to stay busy, and they wanted to help. And they have built a very exceptional foundation there, an organization where they take kids out, they get them introduced to hunting the right way, shooting. And now with that facility down there, I mean, they're holding events there from what I understand, and for the youth. And that's good to see. The key to keeping our Second Amendment is going to be that next generation. If we're not teaching them, if we're not taking them out there, we're in trouble because they become voters. And I can't stress that enough.
That's exactly right.
So you want to jump in there, Teresa? I know we've been kind of just talking, but you want to add anything to that? And I know we have a little lag.
I would love to add to this. So in New Jersey, we have something called the diversity shoots, and there's an organization called 2A4E. The Second Amendment is for everyone, and it's run by a friend of mine, Tony Simon. You all should check him out on your socials. He's just this dynamic figure who he holds these monthly shoots where he invites people who are newbies from all sorts of communities to come there and just touch a firearm for the first time to get the basic training, and then to get some range time one-on-one with instructors. I'm very proud to say that my group, CNJFO, many of our board members and also our members, they volunteer their time as instructors to work with these people at the range. And so these are held monthly. They're called diversity shoots, 2A for E, 2A is for everyone. Tony Simon, check those out. And we have a saying there that's called each one, reach one. That's exactly what Nate was saying, that you have to demonstrate it. And I've had another friend of mine say that women and children will save the Second Amendment. So I'm proud to say that I agree with that. I think that there may be some kernel of truth to that. And so, but I love men, so don't get me wrong with that statement. It's definitely not a dig, but there's something to be said about you have to train the new generation. You also have to outreach to people who generally have been maybe even against, firearm ownership. And being, a woman from New Jersey, I'll tell you that many of my friends, they're not firearm owners. And in fact, they're not really in favor of it. They support me because they care about me and they like to see me, do these things that are meaningful to me. But they, some of them will never own a firearm and will tell me that that's not something they're interested in. But you also have to have enough, you have to have a nuance and enough emotional intelligence to have conversations with exactly those people. And those are the people that, we need to talk to, and you don't want them to be your enemy, or you don't want them to be, well, now I'm going to go all in and we're going to try to find every way that we can suppress your rights and infringe. And so you have to be able to engage those people in that. And sometimes you can bring them to our side. Sometimes you can't. But maybe you can stop them from trying to thwart us and to just accept us. There you go, 2A4E. So should be an event coming up very, very soon. Tony Simon is a dear friend of mine, and I would encourage you, Clay, maybe to even invite him for for a podcast, for an interview.
That's what I just was thinking that I should probably have this guy on the show.
Yeah, I'll connect you after the show.
It'd be epic. It really would be.
I'll connect you after the show, and hopefully we stay connected as well. This is so neat. I envy people in free states. I love all of you all in free states. You have to understand that being behind the enemy lines, that the way we look at all of you is like, it's not just like with envy, right? That you have these rights, but it's like we have something to look up to, right? We know that it can be done. What you
Right.
You show in a free state to me is that we know because you do it every day. And so you have to understand that you might just be going about your business every day and you're carrying when you go in and out of the store or whatever. But for people like me out in the East Coast, we say, look, it can be done. We can say that there's no reason that we can't be like that. So, we look up to you in that way. So I encourage you to hold on to it and, to not take it for granted. But we do look up to you and I think it's great. And we often refer to you as people in free states, which is very fun. And so, and the newest thing, and Nate and I, we went to lunch and they have plastic straws. And I was extremely excited about this because New Jersey has not only banned plastic straws, they've banned plastic bags. And now apparently coming in August, they're banning one-time use forks and condiments. So no more ketchup packets for you.
Wow.
Seriously, there's no end to the insanity. Send help,
So here's some comments from Leon. He's also part of our network here, which, we have like 4 shows on here now. So this is just one of them. This is our flagship. But this is Blackbeard Logic. This is Leon Francis. So the young black guys have no idea about the Second Amendment or hunting or anything. I've enlightened so many young guys that have nothing but the street gang side of firearms. It's a great segue into showing them the difference in the parties and the protections our founding founders put in place for us all. It's not a left or right issue. It's a patriot and liberty thing. Amen, Leon. And that's exactly right, isn't it? And like I said, I just looked up this deal. I really want to connect with this guy because he's doing exactly, and I put it this way. We always say that you guys are behind the enemy lines, and we are thankful for them people who are in New Jersey and New York and California and all these commie states that hate our freedoms and hate our way of life in certain circles. And you guys truly are on the front lines. We know the battles, but in all reality, we're pretty comfortable out here in the Midwest, and that's good. I couldn't live anywhere else.
Too comfortable.
Sometimes.
Yeah, we're very, very much too comfortable, I believe. And the other thing is you have to empathize, and this is something that's really dawned on me in the last few years. You have to welcome people in a way that meets them where they live, because if you've never, went to the deer field or the pheasant field or anything like that and hunted over dogs or just enjoyed a good whitetail hunt in the Dakotas, you really don't have any room in your brain to really wrap your head around what it's like to come to a range. And I think welcoming people to the range, it's a very interesting thing, because just saying open to the public isn't really enough, because,
No.
The reality of it is if you're someone of color and someone who's never, or even just a white person that's never had any exposure but negative exposure to firearms, and you pull up to a shooting range that says open to the public, there's no way in hell you're going to drive in there and just take the chance that it's safe. And, you have to understand and empathize that, people have no baseline understanding of the way we live, and that's really what I'm trying to kind of foster here at Whitington is, everybody that comes we have people that pop in here, they see you open to the public, but it's not enough to say, yeah, come on in, drive around, check it out. You have to really say, actually, let me show you, let me bring you in here. Let me invite you. Let me show you this ATA shoot where there's 600 people shooting 80 or 90,000 shotgun shells in a matter of a couple of days, and nobody's getting hurt miraculously, and it's one of those things that's like, unless you wrap your head around the communicative, collaborative, family-oriented lifestyle that we're all so happily used to, it's just a different thing. It's like you have to give people a baseline understanding of what that really looks like.
Oh, absolutely. And, and out here, where you're at, it's wide open spaces. You got some very long ranges out there. We got them up in North Dakota. Moffett comes to mind outside of Bismarck. They've got a huge, long range. I have my own right here on my place. I'm blessed here. I live on a 3,200 acre ranch, and I have one now. I have my 700 yard gong, I just got my full size antelope. It is a life size cutout antelope of AR 500 steel. And I've got that set out there about 775 yards now. So I still got to add my 1,000, and I've got a place I'm going to put the mile, the 1,760. I have shot it. I can tell you right now, it's been so long. I'm out of practice. There's no way I'm going to hit a mile till I get back out and start doing it. It was cool when I did it. Did that out in Wyoming with Jason, in fact, Wilson.
Yeah.
And it was literally a blast and a lot of fun. And we got to go see, where he lived out there in that desert.
Well, and when we're talking about some crazy stuff, I mean, that's what's amazing to me is the technology. We have to share and give kudos to some of these companies that are just making these phenomenal firearms. I just took Teresa out with a Ruger Precision that I bought from Justin and Tammy right in Sturgis, South Dakota. Very reasonable, kind of an entry level firearm. And I hadn't, I'd sighted it in right on at 200 and was successfully able to shoot that, 1,123 yards and hit the white buffalo in less than one box of shells. We got it on target at, over 1,000 yards, which is really cool. And Teresa had never shot more than 200 yards. And so kudos to the companies that are out there. It's great to see all of the different technology change like it has. It's just a phenomenal thing. And it's a long ways from the way I grew up. You're just plinking and kind of dealing with stuff, and 300 or 400 yards was a pretty good shot in 1995.
Well, and I've got a Precision as well. It's in a 6.5. I know the 6.5 Creedmoor. It's not my favorite round, but it's not a bad round. But I've got a burst eliminator on there, so that adds a whole new game. I can shoot with traditional scopes. That's how I learned that open sight. But I'm telling you, I love the technology of pushing the little button, and it gives me my range, and boom, it puts a dot out there, and I can tell you that is awesome for slaying coyotes.
You're gonna laugh. You're gonna laugh at me because I was just shooting an Arkin, which they're great entry level scopes, but I literally bought that gun just so that folks like Teresa, when they show up at Whitington, that have never shot that distance like that, it's just a using firearm. It's something that's entry level. About anybody can afford it. But those are the kind of things that I have to give kudos to my parents, Tim and Cheryl Brown. They're still in the ministry in North Dakota, they were in North Dakota for 30 years. Now they're in Wyoming. But what really has created this drive in me is watching my parents. Even now, today, they're in their 70s. And they're taking Native American kids and just plinking and going out in the country, showing them how to work and then go have some fun and go play with some 22s. Even just shooting silhouettes. Where the Shoots and Fest is here. We have some great events. One of the things that I noticed that, we've kind of seen a dwindle over the years is like silhouette shooting. And the other night I took a handful of 22s that I had lever action, some of them scoped, some of them red dots, and went out to our silhouette range and just shot silhouettes. And I'm telling you what, you talk about fun, go out there and just spend about 300 rounds of 22 just shooting all the way out to 150, 200 yards with a 22 and knocking down silhouettes of turkeys and pigs and rams and different things. That's what's really great about having a place where you can take people and just really understand and expose people that have never shot before to the true fun. And the other thing is shooting as a sport. I wanted to touch on that a little bit. It's really cool. As a kid from Wyoming and North Dakota, I really never was exposed to shooting as a sport. I was always busy with basketball, football, that kind of stuff. But I think it's really cool to understand that, kids that might not be the best basketball player, track runner, football player, whatever, they can really excel at the shooting sports. And some of those people, men and women both, just kill it. My friend Darren Smith out of Colorado, he was a field rep in Colorado, but his daughter Riley, she's now at the University of Wyoming coaching in the shotgun world. And I mean, it's pretty humbling to be a 50-year-old man, and then you show up and you watch these people that are hitting 97 out of 100 or 100 out of 100 every time, and it's like, wow,
Well, I can tell you this, that like I always said, I mean, if you want to be a football player, basketball, whatever. I was a wrestler in high school. My kids are not in sports. I didn't push it on them. If they wanted to, they could, but I did teach them to shoot. Anybody can be taught to shoot. Anybody can learn how to shoot. Where you take that from there, once you learn, you might be a precision shooter like David Fettig, who has been chiming in here. He's a state champion. He's done some fantastic things, builds some fantastic rifles. But anyway, like he says, the first time you hit the ground, 1,000 yards, it's pretty special, and it is. That first time you nail that 1,000-yard target. But anybody can learn to shoot, and they can do it, in a wide range of entry level to hunting to top precision. It's wherever you want to take it to. You can't say the same thing for all the other sports. Not everybody's going to have the ability, the athletic, natural ability to go on and be that college superstar, high school star, or even professional. Not everybody's going to do that, and your chances are slim. Hunting and shooting, you can do it, you can learn it, and you can do it till you can't move anymore.
That's right. I wanted to give props to a man named John Isaacs. He's in Torrington, Wyoming, but friend of mine, great guy. But I'd never really heard of this, and you probably have, Clay. But the triple, he's one of the only triple distinguished expert marksman in the NRA. He was number 47 since 1871. He actually accomplished rifle, pistol, and shotgun as a triple distinguished expert marksman, and that's one of my goals with John's help and support. Is to try to reinvigorate that program. I think when you realize that in 1871, Ambrose Burnside, which funny enough, that's where Sideburn came from, but the Union General that started the NRA first.
I was going to say, NRA I know program. Who he is.
One of the coolest things about the NRA is we really truly started as an organization to focus on training and marksmanship. And that's really cool, and I appreciate John for kind of putting that on my radar. It kind of slipped past me, and
you got to remember, Nate, those Southern boys were kicking the crap out of them Union boys as far as accuracy.
That's exactly right.
After the Civil War, we have got to do something. They did.
And I think it's just an awesome thing that this organization has been around for so long, and going back to Teresa again, and reinvigorating the NRA. And re-envisioning the NRA and we're really in a place where, if you have a firearm in your home today, thank God for the NRA. That's really where we're at.
I'm going to hit on a couple comments here, and then I want to take a quick break. But Teresa, I want to come back and talk a little bit more about women involved in shooting sports and entry level, whether it's competition and all the way down. And what you're seeing out there, because when I was a rep, it was one of the biggest segments of growth in the shooting community was women shooters. So I'd kind of like to hit on that a little bit. But so we got a couple comments that I want to read. Brian Waters says, not too many 50-year-old guys getting together for 3 weekends in November to play football. Doug Wolf says, another great sponsor with LAUER Auto Repair, he says, but we do for deer camp. And that's absolutely true. You can keep doing that. And then David says, when teaching a new shooter, there are many ways to skin a cat, but there is still a wrong way. Don't teach bad habits. And that's true, too. And a good example is that, guys, it is not funny when you take your new girlfriend and she's never shot and you give her a 50 AE Desert Eagle or a 454 Casal revolver. Don't do that. Even a 12. Why don't you start out with a 22 and have some fun and teach that young lady how to shoot? Because all you're doing is embarrassing her, kind of like the people that, when you go to a range, Nate, and I'm sure you've seen this, Teresa. When you go to a range, there's always that group of guys that are intimidating. And I've seen it happen personally where they kind of look at you like, what are you doing here? That's not the way to approach that. You need to welcome everybody and teach them, because they could be that next advocate. They could be that next defender of the Second Amendment. don't ever miss that opportunity to welcome somebody into the shooting community. I guess that's kind of where I'm at on it, and that's what I've tried to do. But let's take a quick break, everybody. We'll come back, pick this up on the other side. We're already 15 past the top of the hour, so I missed my top of the hour break, but that's okay. We're not on radio. We kind of make our own rules here, so we'll be right back.
Lauer Auto Repair, located at 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
Give them a call at 701-258-6308.
The team of mechanics at Lauer Auto can take care of any problem your vehicle is having. And when you do business with Lauer, you can be assured you're doing business with a pro Second Amendment America First repair shop. There are plenty of other auto repair shops in the Bismarck-Mandan area. But why take a chance at patronizing a shop that might not have your beliefs at heart? Make no mistake. Lauer Auto is your pro Second Amendment repair shop. When you talk to the guys at Lauer Auto, don't forget to tell them that you heard they are a sponsor of Guns and the 701 and that you appreciate their support of our pro Second Amendment, pro North Dakota live stream and podcast. That's Lauer Auto Repair, 701-258-6308.
701-258-6308.
Located 309 South Washington Street in Bismarck, North Dakota.
When you want it done right,
Go where lemons go.
Kalon's Auto Service, owned and operated by Kalon and Misty Foss, lifelong locals with over 25 years experience. From modern rides to classic restorations, they can handle it all. Top quality work, fair price, and honest hometown values. Located just 1 block south of Highway 12 on 6th Avenue West in Lemmon. Kalon's Auto Service, serving you with all your auto repair needs.
For the best gun gear for every and any situation, Little Angry Man Arms LLC has you covered. Top-notch guns from top-name brands like Winchester, Glock, Sig Sauer, and Ruger to essential extras from Magpul, Streamlight, Hollow, Sun Optics, and more. Little Angry Man Arms LLC have everything to make your shooting adventures a success. Visit littleangrymanarms.com today and gear up for your next big hunt, competition, or home defense. Don't miss out on our exclusive deals. Little Angry Man Arms LLC, based in Trail City, South Dakota, your ultimate hunting partner.
At Horton LaserCraft, we believe in the power of personalization. Whether it's a cherished memory, a special occasion, or a unique gift, our custom laser engraving brings your vision to life. Our expert craftsmen and state-of-the-art technology ensure every piece is a work of art. From personalized decor to one-of-a-kind keepsakes, Horton LaserCraft makes every moment unforgettable. Horton LaserCraft is owned and operated by a local veteran and his wife located near Thunderhawk, South Dakota. They provide custom laser products at a reasonable price, and their turnaround time is fast and efficient.
Custom board cutting, glassware, decanter sets, mugs, assorted stainless steel jewelry, assorted tags, decor, custom acrylic nightlights, and much, much more.
Call them up at 605-545-7535. Horton LaserCraft, where memories are engraved.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We are being joined by Nate Brown and Teresa Inacker. I hope I got that right. I'll get that right by the end of the show. That is not my specialty. I can tell you that, Nate, pronouncing names. That's not my specialty. We have lost Teresa, by the way. I know she's not showing up, so we'll have to get her back online. But she is no longer online. No problem.
She said she thought she had it handled.
That's okay.
Did it come back for you, Teresa? Oh, she's reconnecting. She'll be fine.
No worries. We'll get her back in here. So, hey, that's the beauty of live streaming and being live, isn't it? You've got to handle these things. I'm glad I got most of this set up, so it's I've learned how to make my scenes, and it just can go from one to the next. And I know Leon has perfected that. But, we kind of left back on the other side of the break talking about new shooters, and the comments are coming in. Like Justin says, he goes, guys that give a new shooter a massive recoiling firearm deserve to be horsewhipped. And I couldn't agree more with that. I mean, why on earth would anybody do that, Nate? You're trying to introduce a new shooter. Wouldn't you want them to have the most pleasant experience possible?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of a weirdo. I love recoil. There she is.
There she is.
I love recoil, and I have some 454 Casuls, but that's one of the things that I noticed when you put my pictures up on the Facebook. I got to go close my door. I'm getting a huge echo. I'll be right back.
I can hear it. So we'll let him do that, everybody. Yeah, the 454 Casul, everybody, of course, it's a fun firearm to shoot. It's a lot of, like the 500 Nitro coming out of Smith & Wesson, another fun one, a lot of recoil. There's some huge handguns out there, but don't give that to the first-time shooter. That is just nuts, right? That's
right. Yeah, what I started to say was, I saw you put on that Facebook post. I was hanging out with Jim Wilson and a bunch of the shootist at the shootist holiday. Right, there you go. And Sheriff Jim is such an icon in the industry, and you're dealing with guys like the Elmer Keith bunch and Ponderosa.
Elmer Keith.
Yes. I mean, there's just a litany of those guys that are six gunners. Jeff Cooper and all those guys. Some of them are on and everything.
Cooper's an icon, isn't he?
But it's really cool to spend time with guys that just love shooting. They just love recoil. They love hand loading, and they love hunting things with a handgun and that kind of thing. But it takes time. It takes time to develop that. You realize it's kind of like working on a workover rig. I was talking to somebody about that the other day. That iron. You have to develop the skill set to let the iron move through your body, and the harder you hold on to it, and it kind of goes against the semi-auto training a little bit, where you're very forward and that sort of thing. But it's a different skill set and it's a different discipline altogether. But that's what the beauty of the Whitington Center and places like Pete Lean and all of these ranges is because you can expose people to plinking with 22s and shotguns and 410s, 20 gauge. And then work your way on up, and then all of a sudden you've got guys that are hunting large game with, big 500 Smith & Wesson lever guns and all kinds of crazy cool stuff. So,
absolutely,
it's just like going back to those guys' comment. It's like David Fettig said, it's kind of like racing cars. You're not ready to go race funny cars right when you get your driver's license.
Some think they are, but I couldn't agree more with that. Yeah, so I'm trying to look here. I'm not seeing all these. Oh yeah, Justin's got here. He says I started my then girlfriend, now wife, on a 17 HMR. By the end of the shoot, she had decimated the auto reset trigger, and she claimed the rifle as hers. There you go. See, an enjoyable experience, and I'm sure Teresa could add to this. Anytime you have an enjoyable experience as a first-time shooter, especially, let's face it, ladies and women were not as involved in shooting here until the last 20 years. I really saw this surge in the last 20 years. And I suppose it's because guys like me and Nate, I took my wife out and we went shooting. I take my boys and go shooting. It's a family event, not just, hey, me and the boys get together and go shoot, although I enjoy doing that too. But you'd want that to be a very enjoyable experience. And then they'll keep doing it with you. Then they'll be all supportive of it. To me, it really gets under my skin because I see guys still do this today. It's like, are you guys nuts? Why would you do that to anybody? But go ahead, Teresa. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this.
Oh, absolutely. And you mentioned before, some of these things that happen to women at ranges, and I have had personal experiences at ranges, even my own home range, where, when I'm a trap shooter and I've been shooting trap, every Monday night for weeks and weeks and weeks. And this fella goes up there and he turns to the guy, one of our board members, and he says, "Oh, hey, Mike, I see you're letting women shoot here now." And I was the only woman shooting trap there, but, and I just showed up and said, I'm going to shoot. And all the guys for the most part, embraced it and they loved it and they were cheering me on. You know, I got like 21 and they're cheering me on. They want me to get 25 and I just couldn't get to it. I'd never gone more than 21. I admit that, but they were cheering me on, except for this one guy. And he says, "Oh, I see you're letting women shoot here." And so my friend Mike, thank you, Mike, he turns to him and says to him, he said, "I bet you $10 that she's going to outshoot you." And I said nothing. I was like, hey, I know I have a man defending me. I'm saying nothing. I'm just going to do my thing, right? So I did my thing. I outshot this guy. And I turned to him and I said, "You owe Mike $10. That was all I said to him. And that was the end of it, right? So absolutely. And he was an older gentleman. And that was part of why I was respectful to him instead of saying like, it's none of your business. You know, I have every right to be here. I didn't, you know, that's not my personality to begin with. I'm just like, whatever, I'll just prove myself, you know, but he was an older gentleman. And I think he wasn't used to seeing women at the range and he just wasn't used to it. Maybe that was a haven for these guys where, you know, they just wanted to get away from home and that was their third space, right? As we say, it's their third space and we don't want women here. So I do understand the nuance of that, but I personally experienced it. And of course it's not going to, you know, it's not going to put me down. Like that's just going to make me rise up. Right. So it didn't bother me. I know the empathy. I know that women are experiencing this everywhere. They're experiencing it in stores. And everything,
I want to kind of go back in history too. I think one thing that I've really noticed is the cyclical nature of things. And, you know, my great grandmother, her name was Maudie Hudson. She grew up in Lance Creek, Lusk area, which is not far at all from the Dakotas, Hot Springs area. She was actually married in Hot Springs, but I have photos of her shooting jackrabbits and cottontail rabbits and things. She actually hunted when she was in her early teens, you know, 12 to 14, 15 years of age, because her dad had a full-time job and her mother died. And when she was, you know, her mother died in infancy when she was having her sister. But anyway, long story short, her dad was working full time. And so my great grandmother, this is in the 20s, you know, in the 20s of 1920s, she was out hunting for food for her family back in those days. And I think what I guess what I'm trying to say is I think when you think of the early days and the settlers, the pioneers, the Native American people, even, you know, the ancient Americans, women had a much more active role in self-defense, a much more active role in feeding their families and all of the above, because there was a lot of men that were gone for long extended periods of time for work, you know, trailing cattle, doing all the different things. And so, you know, women had to be more in line with the idea of defending the homestead and feeding their family. And so I think we're really kind of, you know, it's not a new thing, you know, and that's what I guess my point that I'm trying to make is women are actually much more likely to be accurate, to be conscientious about safety, all those things because of the motherly instinct or the just femininity in general. But the reality of it is it's not new. It's not a new thing. And misogyny over the last, you know, whatever, 50 to 75 years may have kind of squashed some of that. But it's great to see, you know, women being, you know, one of the fastest growing demographics in firearms ownership. So
not just that, Nate. We have seen this in the actual competitive side, especially Olympic shooters or things like that. We just don't hear about them. I saw them all the time, especially in some of the collegiate shooting sports when I was a rep. That I was like, oh, I had no clue there were that many ladies involved, which was great to see. So they don't get the press, for one. Like you said, it's not new. But I do think that there is a resurgence or a lot of new female shooters coming to the sport, whether it's just entry-level shooting some handguns. And I want Teresa to hit on this, too. Out here, it's probably mostly maybe shotguns, but a lot of rifle because we have the area, right? Out in New Jersey, I don't think there's a lot of 1,000-yard ranges. And I would have to bet it's either going to be shotgun like trap, skeet, maybe 5-stand, which I love doing all them too, or probably handgun. And a lot of reasons for that is availability of ranges. Plus, I'm assuming that it's self-defense. They're looking for that self-defense security, right?
Oh, 100%. So I think I think that the longest range that we have in New Jersey is 600 yards down in Cumberland County.
Okay.
I think I've been there, and I didn't shoot there, but I've been to that range before. And so it is extremely difficult to find long ranges. People will just trek into Pennsylvania to do fun things, right? But you're absolutely right. Most of the women that I know, they're handgun shooters. And it's driven by self-defense. And especially since now we can get carry permits, which, they were verboten back then. We weren't allowed to have them. And so, a lot of women have, taken on the handgun shooting, but they really can't handle a rifle or shotgun. They're not really into long guns. And in New Jersey, we also have to have separate permits for long guns and for handguns. So I'm not going to get you in the weeds on that one. Don't worry.
Wow.
I'm not going to torture everybody, right?
I think we're going to have Teresa on again. We got a whole can of worms there.
I mean, if you want to go there, we'll do that sometime, but we need like a whole other night to do that. But we need.
Yeah, I was saying we got like 29 minutes left tonight. So,
but yeah, so you need separate kinds of permits. The other thing is that most of our ranges are indoor ranges, right? So we have a lot of indoor ranges. I prefer outdoor ranges. My home range is an outdoor range, and I love it. And I am actually quite uncomfortable shooting at indoor ranges, but that for most people in New Jersey, that's where they shoot our indoor ranges, and they like that, and that's great and good for them. And I'm not knocking indoor ranges at all. They serve a great need, and sometimes that's all you can get, right? But for me, it's just not my preference. And so there's definitely sort of like that tension there between the indoor and the outdoor. But yeah, no long ranges. And most people are definitely, into the self-defense component. We do have to qualify. In New Jersey, you have to qualify in order to get a carry permit. And so you have to practice with your handgun. You have to do it. And then you have to pass, you have to qualify at so many yards. I want to say it's like 5, 10, 15, 25, something like that. And so you have to do it every 2 years and pay, of course, because the government wants its check.
Oh, yeah, you get their confiscation fee.
Absolutely.
Another really interesting thing too that I've noticed is, the left really doesn't want women embracing firearms ownership, and so you have to hand it to like Lena McCulloch, Christy Titus, folks like yourself and Amanda Suffolk, and all those gals that have really championed the Second Amendment. Because when you bring the mothers and the daughters and the women along, everybody comes along for the party, and that's the reality. And so, firearms ownership among women really is the future of the defense of the Second Amendment in a big way.
Well, they're going to become active voters. There's no doubt about that once they learn. And I'll tell you this, when I wasn't doing any kind of instruction, I would much rather teach ladies than men at that time. And for the simple fact that most of the ladies had never shot. They listened. They absorbed everything you were talking about. They didn't have these bad habits. And the men would come. It's like, well, if you know everything, what are you doing here? I wanted to say that so many times, but it's like, no, I would much rather instruct a group of ladies, especially first-time shooters, because they are just so eager to embrace it and do it. And then, of course, if it's enjoyable, like I've been talking about, that will be a lifelong shooter and or advocate someday to defend the Second Amendment. I don't know how many times I've seen that. I mean, my wife, when I met her, she didn't shoot much. She lived on a ranch. She knew all the ranch stuff, but it wasn't her thing. And she didn't get political. I tell you now, my wife is one of the biggest advocates for the 2A. She will just give it to somebody when they're in on the other side, which is good to see because she was never that way. So we have to have them on our team, plain and simple.
Yep. They really are leaders in that regard in a lot of ways because they're the ones that spend the most of the time with the kids,
Right. And Teresa, I'm sure you see the same thing out there.
I do. And especially with my work for Women for Gun Rights, and I'm encouraging your wife, she should sign up with Women for Gun Rights and you guys should follow. Of course, we have like New Jersey specific pages, but there's national pages as well. And it's unique. It's like my tribe. And that's how I describe it. It's like I found my tribe once I got there because it is hard to be a female 2A advocate. And it's like you're kind of sticking out and you're going against the flow there. But once I found there were other women and 50 other states that also had, 49 other states, they had the same interest and they were fighting for the same things. It was like finding my own tribe of people. And there is something about that, there's something that makes you comfortable. And we do have some unique arguments that we can make. And I've always tried to do that when I testify against a bill, is always try to tell them how it impacts me as a woman, that things that they have not considered, the unintended consequences of what they're trying to do and how it's going to affect me. And we try to give them that perspective because they're not thinking of it. And women are also some of the greatest opponents to the Second Amendment, right? We have to acknowledge this with the Moms Demand and the Everytown types. And one time I was in Trenton in New Jersey in the state capitol testifying against bills. And there was a whole cadre of Moms Demand women in their red shirts. And on a break, I went up to them and I said, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? Let's talk. Like, will you go to the range with me? I actually asked this Moms Demand women if they were, if I could take them to the range, if that would make them comfortable, if they would sit with me and talk about it.
Right.
All of them. And she says, I'm afraid.
Oh, we had a little breakup. It's kind of getting fuzzy on you.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of that. She pointed right at them. And so I understood right then and there. Types of mind I have, and my connection might be
You're breaking up, Teresa.
According to the computer, I don't know.
Yeah, it's breaking up. Are you back with us?
We got her going.
Stereotypical, which is a white male, that sort of thing. They said they're afraid of that, and it kind of blew my mind. Really, what they're afraid. Your argument is making no sense. Also a woman, and I think this, and it's impacting me in the following ways. So, I have problems. Right.
Did we lose her again?
I think she's back again now. She might. It's probably our antiquated.
You can hear me now.
Internet.
Yeah, I think we got you now. Yeah, I was just kind of looking up your women for gun rights, and I noticed that Amanda's on that board. It looks like I found the North Dakota rep as well. I didn't notice one for South Dakota, but yeah, I'll have to look more into that. Really, it's not something I didn't know about it till tonight, really. So see, I learned something new, and that's how this happens too, guys. You get the word out there and we start spreading it. The rule of 5, isn't it? Right? You touch 5 people, boom, they touch 5, and that explodes, which is a good thing. So,
yep.
No, I've always believed this. I've seen this as a rep. I noticed that even at the banquets, we started seeing more women over the 10 years I was a rep out here coming to the banquets. Probably, I imagine I had something to do with that because I tried to welcome the wives to get on the committees and be part of it. And of course, they'd bring their friends and they'd buy tables. And then everybody had a lot of fun then. They came as a family. They had some fun. Maybe it was a couple's night out for a husband and wife or a boyfriend, girlfriend who loved shooting. And I think that's the key. If they're having fun doing something, they're also going to be proponents for it and they're going to defend it, right? I mean, that's anything.
Yeah.
And I think we maybe lost touch with that for so many years with a lot of our organizations. They didn't focus on that. You have to do that. You have to be thinking of that next generation. And honestly, as much as the NRA did for us,
I'm back.
They kind of dropped the ball on that. Oh, we can hear you. Yeah. NRA kind of dropped the ball on that, looking to the next generation for a long time. And then they finally grasped it and went with it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Clay. I mean, recreational shooting kind of opens people's eyes, and then you start realizing and recognizing the value of it. I think that's really what it boils down to, the family side of it. It's just there's really no better way, and it ties into outdoor rec. Everybody wants to complain about their kids being on their cell phones too much. Well, when's the last time you kicked them out of their bedroom and took them out shooting?
Exactly.
I mean, I grew up chasing everything that moved with a 22 long rifle, basically, and then you kind of develop a skill set, and then you move on to bigger, better things. But I remember my mom not long ago saying something that really was funny. I was teasing her. I said, well, you guys were preachers. You guys didn't have a lot of money, so I didn't get all the cool presents and things. And my mom said, well, you didn't really want to do anything. You didn't want to play video games. Somebody was talking about video games, and I said, oh, all my friends had Nintendos, but I never got one. And my mom said, you wouldn't be in the house long enough to play a Nintendo if we did have you one. So, and she really touched on a point that, I was just outside, that was the understanding. And it really opens up a mindset of just, then you start valuing, the ability to feed yourself. We saw, through COVID, there's no guarantee at any time, any place in this country, there's no guarantee that the grocery stores are going to have the things that you need. And, we've really become a complacent and lazy society. And I think, people don't even clean their own game and stuff like that. And it's like, at the end of the day, you might need a skill set where you can feed yourself,
Well, and it's always that first, right? I know NRA for a while when I was a rep, we had, they had this whole campaign of your first. We even had a website for it, and I thought it would do better than it did. Have that first picture with that first shot or with that first big hunt, whatever it might be. And I know that you just said, you were introduced to it early. I was not. I wasn't introduced till I was about 16, and it was my buddy's dad that took me. So I am the example of take a guy shooting, take a kid shooting. I was hooked, and I become a huge advocate then, because I love the 2A so much, and I learned about it through them, honestly. Not that my dad didn't. He just didn't hunt, right?
Yeah, and it wasn't his thing.
It wasn't his thing. He loved sports. That's probably why I was in wrestling. But, Teresa, what was your introduction to shooting? Because I always think it's important for everybody to tell everybody, because we all have a different story on this. And when I tell people I never touched a firearm until I was 16, they're like, you? Because now, when I look around me, behind me, my whole basement looks like that. And I am the guy now. So I'm just curious, how did you get introduced?
So it's very interesting that my uncle, my dad's brother, and I love him dearly, my Uncle Tony, he lives in the woods for New Jersey. And so when we would spend the weekend there, it was like an old, an old lodge that they had as their house. And there was a trap house on the property. And so my uncle first introduced me to hitting clays, and I was about 10 years old. He also let us use a pellet gun and hit soda cans and that kind of thing. And I grew up very close to New York City. I know this seems kind of crazy. I don't sound like it, right? Hopefully I don't.
You don't have that accent from New York.
But I grew up in what we fondly call Central Jersey, which is a myth, according to some people, but closer to New York City. And so for me to be able to I would just run through the woods, and I loved it. And I realized right then and there, I was probably 10 years old, and I was like, I am absolutely I need to live in the woods when I'm grown up and that kind of thing. So I loved it. And that was my first introduction to it. My dad never had a firearm, so I never had that in my household. And it really wasn't until I became a mother that I decided I needed a firearm to defend myself and to defend my child. And so, for me, I really only got into this about 15 years ago. So I took a class, I applied for a firearms purchase ID card in New Jersey, and I realized I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked at what hoops you had to jump through to get a permit, because we can't just go to a store. You have to go through this process. It could take months. It was taking about 6 months at the time to just get that permit. And so it's effectuates, a 6-month waiting period, right? And so, I applied for this. They do all sorts of questions. They call your references. They ask all these nasty questions. And I'm thinking to myself, who are they to call my references? Right? Who are these people to call my references and ask personal things about me, about why I want a firearm? And there were some just really bizarre, questions asked. And I thought to myself, this is ridiculous. As an attorney, I was like, I am not okay with this. As soon as I hear something that's unjust, I just absolutely, it triggers me to no end. And so I was like, I need to look under the hood and see what's going on here with these laws. And then that's how I got involved. But I took a course, all day classroom course, and then, partial day on a range. And that was how I first got introduced truly, beyond my childhood, right? Into having those few moments and, a couple summers or whatever when I was young. But, my father never had firearms, so I had nobody to teach me how to go hunting. And And I am a pheasant hunter, and I'm grateful to my friend David Rosenthal from CNJFO and my brothers in that group that really mentored me and helped me to get to do that. If I didn't have them, I wouldn't be able to do it because I'd have nobody to teach me how to do it. Right. And you need people who are patient and who are willing to teach you and to share their knowledge. It's almost like it's a privilege that you don't know you have, that if somebody taught you as a child how to properly use a firearm and what the safety rules are and how to go hunting, it's literally like a privilege that you have. You don't even know you have it. Maybe you don't even appreciate it. But if you don't have it, you certainly know that you're at a deficit. So I was completely at a deficit because I had nobody in my life to really teach me these things. But I'm like an adventurer and a learner, and I want to, constantly learn new things and do new things. And so for me, I have no problem going into a classroom, meeting a stranger, and if they're trustworthy and they're vetted and all of that, and learning from them how to do it. So that was how I did that. And so for the most part, it's been a journey on my own. And, some people in my life accept it and some people don't. And that's part of what you have to decide, especially in places like mine. It's not culturally accepted. It's not really culturally accepted. I mean, my own mother said to me, how can you have anything to do with firearms after Newtown happened? And it was like, I cried. I literally cried when that happened because my child was the same age as those children. But for her to say, how can you have anything to do with firearms? Like, you have to be prepared to, are you steadfast in what you believe or are you not? Right. And it's like, I love you, but I am not going to give up my right to defend myself or my child. Exactly that same thing. Right.
Well, so, not just that, things like that. It wasn't the firearm, wasn't the type of firearm. In fact, a lot of these things that don't happen with an AR like the media likes to, they like to focus on those. It's the person. It's in their heart. For whatever reason, they have flipped. Something went bad in their heart and their mind, and they flipped a switch and decided they're going to kill people. You're not going to stop that. We've seen it done with vehicles, right? I always said, if I was going to be that crazy, man, I'm not going to use a firearm, especially not an AR. I'll probably use my great big 1-ton diesel. I'm going to do a lot more damage and run it into a crowd. And that's why I always tell people, that affects me none when something like that happens. It doesn't make me waver on my fundamental belief that it's a right given to us by God, and it's outlined in the Constitution. It says, hey, the U.S. government, we made our Declaration of Independence, and it was by our Creator that we are all equal, that we are endowed. No, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to compromise. And those first 10 amendments said the government can't do that to us because they were recognized as rights, not given by the government, but by our Creator. And that's kind of my basis on that.
Absolutely. This is part of why, and I think that because for the most part, secular society, right, there's not really a whole belief in God. And so that makes it harder, right? Because if you read John Adams and some of his writings, a lot of the early fathers said that really this experiment is only going to work if the people believe in a higher power, if they believe in God. Absolutely. And if they don't, then it's going to be a problem. And so, we really need to think about that. And it's definitely something you could lay awake at night. Now, when I lay awake at night and I think about these things, but
yeah, well, and it is the truth. I will say that, what we saw happen last year, September 10th, with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, I have seen a huge, surging of new, younger people coming to church again. That's a good thing. I'm glad to see it. They're getting more vocal, at least in my region, but I live in the Midwest, right? I don't know how that's panning out on the East Coast or the West Coast, especially in the deep blue states. I imagine they're there, but they're not probably as vocal as they are out here. And I got more vocal, honestly. I've always believed. Seen some things. I had some things happen to us last fall that were just seemed like one thing after another, which only grew my faith stronger. But I can tell you that there were a lot of pivotal things last year that happened. It seemed like in the end of the year that turned so many back to that path. And I hope it continues. I don't know if you saw it out there, though.
Yeah, I mean, I have read some statistics, even in New York City, that like young people are going to church because they're trying to meet they're trying to meet potential spouses, right? And that like,
Well,
it's so horrible, and the dating scene is so horrible, and that they're going to church actually to try to meet people that they're compatible with. And so I think you could Google it and see that. And I did read these studies that people are like, it's surging. And that's so fascinating to me, because it's sort of like, the full circle and the pendulum it's just that's where people are at now. And I believe in that, because if you don't have the same core beliefs, like obviously you're not going to, it's not going to be a success. And so I definitely think that's definitely a factor. And I agree with everything you said about that. So. And,
we've incorporated it into our show here. I didn't used to do this, but I open every show with a prayer. I think it's important. I think we need to give thanks to God. Everything we have is because of his blessings and his will. And until people have that personal relationship, you can't enjoy your fundamental right to the Second Amendment. You can't, enjoy the First Amendment, the Second. It all hinges on that Christian foundation. And like you said, our founders, they spoke and wrote of that abundantly and said it has to happen that way. And they're right. They were right.
There's an undeniable correlation. There really
Absolutely.
is. I mean, it goes hand in hand, and it goes to the whole hunter's ethics. And I think, we all can agree that, with the less godly societies become, the more poaching there is, the more, just destructive habits, destructive things that happen across the board. And, I think that's the beauty of places like the Whitington and the Peatline and the NRA, the organizations like the, Voices of the 2A and, just all of the different things that we're doing. It's really good to see kind of a revival in our country of all these core values. And I love that the NRA, fully embraces godliness. It really is a good thing. And there's a lot of organizations, both, secular corporate organizations that don't, but thank God that we have kind of seen a revelation in people's minds where, there's a lot more people being more vocal about their faith than there has in many, many years. And I love that.
Yeah, and I'm one of them. I should have been doing it years ago, but I was like, I'm not going to be silent anymore. And you're seeing that attitude more. As for the NRA, I saw that in the field ops division. There were so many of us. That was our path, right? It was awesome to see that. When we'd be out there for winter meetings, we'd start those meetings in the morning with prayer. When we ate, we'd have a prayer. How many organizations really do that? I can tell you NRA did it. They did it all the time.
They still do for the, by and large, they still do. I don't know if the board, does the board start with a pledge and a prayer, Teresa, when you guys have board meetings? Do you know? I'm not even sure, really.
I'm trying to remember. I think we actually do, because I've been to the prayer breakfast, right? Charlie Beers was the MC for that. And we also have Amy Lovato, who's also from New Jersey. She's Jeff Cooper's granddaughter, right? She, I believe, usually does give a prayer, and there's someone else who also prays, and she will sing like the Lemmon. So we do start with an invocation, and I think that's great. I really do. It is. It's very important to me.
Well, guys, we're getting close here. So, Teresa, you got the floor. So I'm gonna give everybody about 2 minutes and close. What do you want to leave tonight with the message tonight?
Well, since I'm sitting at the Whitington Center, I just have to say this is the most beautiful place you never heard of, to quote one of my friends today from my Book of Faith page. He said, that is the most incredible place I've never heard of, right? So I definitely encourage everybody to check out Whitington, and I'm grateful to Nate for, setting me up for success to shoot the white buffalo yesterday. That was just wonderful.
Awesome. Congratulations, by the way. That was awesome.
Thank you.
If I didn't put those up yet, I'll put them up here. So just quickly, we can burn my time up.
Thank you.
There she is, right there.
Thank you. There I am.
And then that's right there.
Yeah, it's even kind of hard to see it in that picture. I tried to. You can barely see that little white dot, but
Yeah.
There I am with my I shoot like a girl hat. But so I just want to start by saying that this has been awesome, and I'm going home tomorrow, and I want to cry because I don't want to leave, So, but it's been fabulous. My first visit here, so I'll definitely will come back. Encourage everybody to do that, And I'm very grateful for the time that you've given us here tonight to talk about all the things that are so important to us, and I've really enjoyed the chats. I've been watching the chats. I haven't figured out a way to respond to the chat, so that's the only reason why I haven't typed back some little.
It's hard. There is a way that I could set that up, but I'd have it. Yeah, we weren't going to be able to do that tonight.
No worries.
I know some of the guests will get on their YouTube and then maybe jump on our Guns and 701 page. Then they can talk to them from there.
Got it.
While
so
they're on
I
air.
just wanted everybody in the chat to know that I've been reading them and I've been looking at them, and I appreciate the feedback and everything that's being said there. So anyway, but thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Teresa, you got an invite to come out here and do any kind of hunting you want.
I'm in. You know what? Ask Nate. I'll take you up on that.
Well, we've got pheasants for the first time. I've got an abundance of pheasants like I've never seen, which is great. Some of the things I've been doing. I'm a pheasant
hunter. I haven't hunted anything else, I admit, and I'm sure, I just hear all of North Dakota just gasped and went, "Oh my God!" But I know.
Yeah. Oh no, you'd love it. North Dakota is an epic place. I love it.
Well, and I'm on the border of North and South Dakota, and I have access in both states, either my land or somebody else's, as well as we're in the heart of the reservation. Which, if you want to buy that tag or that license, that allows you to even shoot more birds. But
I'm totally open to it. But again, it's about a matter of somebody inviting me, right? And
you're invited.
Literally just walk the walk here because you just invited me to do that. It's not the kind of thing that I can do on my own. I need somebody.
And if you come in the fall of the year, I've got a couple options. I've got a cabin on the lake about 40 miles from here, and we've got a place just a half mile from me in town that I do have access to, and so but we can make it happen. I don't invite everybody, but you're definitely invited. So
thank you, I love that, and I want to talk to you about your potential run for the board. I absolutely love this, and so let's talk about that offline.
So Nate, we'll give Nate, we'll give him a couple minutes here, and so I know you're busy with fundraising, and you're making that advancement officer position probably. I think it's going to be a fantastic thing for Whitington Center.
Well, it's great, and it's it's an easy place to sell. That's all I have to say. And I just have to hand it to my heritage, the people that raised me, my grandparents, my parents, and a lot of great mentors. And don't forget to share your love for the outdoors and the NRA and shooting sports with other people, because that's really where it's all at. And thank you, Clay. Thank you to all of your listeners. I feel honored and privileged to be on here for my third time now, and to share with people like Teresa this magical place. I hope you all.
Thank you.
I hope you all have the opportunity to come to Whitington, and it's a special place. Love to share it with you.
I know I see David and Leon and all these guys on there. So we're kind of trying to do a hog hunt down in Florida in January. So they might not be able to do everything, but my plan is to come down there, I think, in January. So try to bring.
You better let me know when that hog hunt is, and as soon as I sell 250 of those raffle tickets, we might have some lucky winner that can take 500 Smiths and go shoot a pig with it. So, well,
we'll talk more about all that off camera too. So, but, thanks, guys. I appreciate you both coming on. It was a treat to have you on, Teresa. And I've had Jason on here because I've known Jason for a long time. Back when he was a volunteer and just starting up Lucid. I've been around a while, especially in the world of the NRA. So I started out as a volunteer with friends, ironically, and then I became the rep. And it was 10 years. I was senior rep, and we did well. I retired, and I thought that we were gonna go someplace else, but unfortunately, that rep after me just didn't do it. Did he, Nate?
No, we had a little bit of a wreck, but onwards and upwards. That's all we got to say about that.
But
I guess trying, you're dying.
I encourage everybody to check out the Whitington Center. You're going to want to go check out. Tell me, Women for Guns, right? Or what was it again, Teresa?
Women for Gun Rights.
Women for Gun Rights. go check that out. And of course, go to NRA.org. That's kind of the hub for everything, but friendsofNRA.org. And I know we got, I think there's one event or two coming up this fall in North Dakota. So you're going to want to go do all that. Of course, every single Friday, you can catch me on KFYR 550 AM radio in the morning at 7:15 Mountain with Todd Mitchell on the Mitchell in the Morning program. I imagine I'm going to talk a little bit about this stuff because you want to talk about a huge radio station, it's K-Fire. So we'll probably be talking about that a little bit. And then, of course, every Tuesday night right here at 7 o'clock p.m. You want to hit Blackbeard Logic on Friday nights at 5 p.m. Mountain, 6 p.m. Central. Sunday Sportsman's Devotion every Sunday at 7 o'clock a.m. in the morning, Mountain Time, 8 a.m. Central. So that's our Guns in the 701 network. You can catch us on all the platforms along with the podcast. They upload to iHeart and every other social media platform in the podcast world. I encourage everybody to go check all of them out every single week. Guys, thank you very much for being a guest here on Guns in the 701. Hit gunsinthe701.com. We redid the website a little bit, and we got some more things coming. So stick around. There you go.
2A, baby. 2A. I don't know if that was right. Whichever one you see the best.
There you go. Perfect. Stick around afterwards. We're going to get some numbers exchanged and do some talking. Yes. But again, Thank you, everybody, for tuning in for another episode 195. Next week, I'm working on another guest. We'll see if it pans out. If it does not, I'm going to have a great show anyway. I got a lot of things to talk about because I haven't really dove into the current events for a couple weeks. So thank you very much. God bless everybody. And by the way, keep your powder dry.